the show that makes you laugh, makes you cry, and it's just phenomenal. This is the Sports Box. The only opinion that matters.
We have guests here for things.
They'll get used to it. I am Mike Aletta, a.k.a. Hamilton Mike, along with my partner Brian, the Ranger Retard, with some special guests today to talk a little. That's right, folks. We're talking NBA basketball. We're going to talk about the Miami Heat today. To my left is the one, the only, you've seen him in the Miami videos, George Carde. George, thanks for coming out.
Guys,
and you've seen him in the Cardinals video. He's also versatile. His son, Anthony. Anthony, thanks for coming out.
Thank you for having me.
So, you know what? It's such a pleasure having these guys here talking NBA. That's it. We're just one big happy family. You know it. And I'm not hugging you guys yet. So let's talk a little Heat. Brian, kick us off. Give them the starting lineup.
Well, I mean, it looks like, you know, the starting lineup I think is actually kind of interesting for the Heat this year because there's been a lot of players to replace, whether it's Dwayne Wade leaving for Chicago or Chris Bosh going through this things he's going through. It's a team I think that's in kind of a transition. So, you know, I'll ask you guys. I mean, they're off to a 4-8 start this year. You know, again, I think the lineup's a little bit in flux. I mean, how do you think this is kind of going to play out? Are they going to really be able to replace a guy of Dwayne Wade's stature?
Well,
yeah, George.
Yeah. Number one, you can never replace Dwayne Wade. You can't replace Chris Bosh. That's just impossible. So what they try to do this year is really go by numbers. We got a whole bunch of guys. I mean, there's 7 new guys to the roster. So, like you mentioned earlier, we're 4-6, right?
4-8, I believe.
4-8. And really, it's attributed to the fact that it is a new roster. So a lot of guys playing together for the first time together. A lot of young guys. So the roster hasn't completely gelled yet. They're young, you know, which is sort of odd for a Pat Riley built team. He doesn't really like young players, and so there's a lot of young players. So definitely a transition mode here. One of the things that are affecting us though in regards to our record is the shooting. We're not a very good shooting team right now. In fact, I want to say we're like 3rd to last in the league when it comes to shooting, and it's affecting the spacing on the court. So shots aren't falling. You know, the NBA is a make-or-miss league, you know, and right now we're missing more than we're making. I want to say leadership is also a problem. You know, you always had Wade in there, you had Bosh, you know, you had elder guys in that would be able to not just play, but be able to be sort of a coach. Now, you still have Udonis Haslem on the team. Now, he's been with the Heat since he got drafted alongside Dwayne Wade back in 2000, what was it, 2003. So he's been with the Heat a long time, but he doesn't play anymore. He's not a player. He's on the bench, so he serves more of a coach/player approach, but he's not on the court. So he can only affect the game in so many ways. And something else that we're lacking with Dwayne Wade not being there anymore is that we don't have a closer. We have a lot of guys who want to take that role, but maybe aren't fit right now. Dion Waiters, he absolutely doesn't. You know, he doesn't lack confidence. Let's say that. But he's not finishing like Dwayne Wade normally would. So those are some of the issues right now and reason why, whether they make the playoffs this year, I'm not sure. It doesn't look right now that they will, the way they're playing. But, you know, this young unit comes together, you never know what could happen.
Anthony, what do you think?
Going on to a lot of the positives here with what I'm seeing in the beginning of the season is I'm really excited for Dion Waiters due to the fact that he was very overshadowed when he was playing in Cleveland because of LeBron and Oklahoma City due to Russell Westbrook and Kevin Durant. But he started out very slow, but now he's really picking it up, I think, and he's starting to take control over games. He's actually leading the league in holding people to 36.9% field goal percentage, which leads the league for shooting guards. Also, coming off the bench, I feel like we have a little more fire than what I saw in the beginning of the season with James Johnson emerging as a very versatile player. Can play anywhere, very good at defense, and Coach Spo loves him. Also, Hassan Whiteside, our big free agent signing in the offseason, the 4-year, $98 million.
You said the money you gave him, you better be good.
He's, I think he's evolving into the superstar everyone knows he can become. He is leading the league in rebounds right now with 16 rebounds a game, and he's getting a lot of respect from other opponents.
You're leading the team in points as well, it looks like, at least so far in the year. You brought up an excellent point about Pat Riley, you know, coaching this team, and, you know, he isn't really a coach that's been known to, you know, develop young talent, and he's been a kind of a closer, if you will, where he'll go to a team and kind of take them over the top to go win something. From what you know about, do you think that he's going to see this rebuild through, or is he like a year-to-year
Or is he like the Al Davis of the NBA?
No, I mean, well, he's been with the Heat now since mid-'90s. You know, so he's been with the Heat for a while. And I mean, he's not coaching anymore, but he, as president of the Heat, you know, he oversees everything.
Yeah.
I do think he'll stick with this next rebuild, because I do think we're rebuilding.
Sure.
But I don't think we're that far away. And if you know anything about Pat Riley, he doesn't build through the draft. Again, he doesn't like young players. So it's unlike the 76ers, who've tanked for a couple years now and want to pick up young players. That's not what he does. He goes for that big free agent splash. You know, he's. I mean, I'm sure everybody will remember. You know, a couple years back when he got LeBron and he got Chris Bosh. But if you think back even before that, all the Miami Heat teams since he's come on have been built that way. You know, Lonzo Mourning. You know, back in the mid-'90s, that was a free agent that he picked up. Tim Hardaway. You know, so he's always gone for that big splash, and he's always been able to get it. I mean, he sells South Beach. Right. You know, so a lot of free agents. They got Gary Payton. They had Gary Payton during their 2006 championship run. You know, they got Shaquille O'Neal. You know, so he's always been able to grab that big fish. Now, he wasn't successful this past summer when he tried to go after Kevin Durant. You know, but at least he was able to get a sit and meet with him. You know.
Yeah.
But he wasn't able to close that one out. But so I do think that he'll be able to see it through. We're not that far away. Anthony spoke about some of the players that we already have. We're not that far away. I think if over the offseason he's able to pick up 1 or 2 free agents, which he likes to do and has proven that he's able to do that. I think after this year we'll be okay.
Okay. Yeah. Anything to add to that? Or?
Yeah, I'm really excited for also the 2 young stars, Tyler Johnson and Josh Richardson. With Richardson starting out injured, first couple games he came back, played not up to his potential, but now he's carrying where he left off last season in the postseason, and he's really had a emergence for the Heat.
Actually, you mentioned Josh Richardson. He was one of the best shooters in the NBA after the All-Star break. He shot 53.3% from the three-point line after the All-Star break, which actually led the league. So you think about a league that was dominated by Steph Curry. You know, he shot better than Steph Curry after the All-Star break. And like Anthony said, you know, he was injured to begin off, and he's back in now, and he's trying to find his form once again. You know, the only problem there, though, I see is that right now they have him playing small forward. He's more really of a shooting guard. And defensively, that might hurt him when he goes up against the bigger guys, you know, defensively.
I got to tell you, Luke Babbitt, that might be one of the great adult names of all time. He might have a future in adult entertainment when he gets done in the NBA. He can't play worth a damn, but I think he's got a great name for adult entertainment. I just thought I'd throw that in.
Well, somebody who did play worth a damn was Shaquille O'Neal, and the news of the day is that Heat are going to retire his number 32. When the Lakers come into town on the 22nd. Yep. You know, he was obviously a big piece of the first couple championships they were with Dwayne Wade. So definitely. Good thing there. You know, it reminds me of, and you kind of brought this too, that you know they're close and they're close. The NBA anymore has become, I think, a league there. You know, it's putting superstars together on a team and going for it. You look at what Golden State's doing now, and really what Cleveland's tried to do around LeBron James. Yep. Given Riley's free agency and the way he normally goes about it, do you think that the Heat are in a position to start attracting some of those big name free agents? And it just seems that you're right. Unless you go the Sixers route and just like really be terrible for a 5 to 6 year period, that's the way the teams are going to go. Yep. I guess do you see the ability of Riley to go get not just a couple like I guess mid range free agents, like a big name that they can center around the way that Shaq was the name and Wade was the name, and then obviously LeBron was the name. You know, from that standpoint.
Well, again, you know, going back into his history, he's always been able to do that. Now, a couple of people say that Wade, with Dwayne Wade leaving, it might have hurt that because, you know, the Heat have always sold family. You know, we're a family, we're top-notch organization. That went ugly. That breakup between Wade and Pat Riley and Miami Heat went ugly.
You hate to see that.
Yeah, so some people say that might have hurt the brand a little bit. It might have hurt Pat Riley. But you know what? You give them the money. You sell South Beach. Florida has no state tax. You sell that. You know, and
that's always a good thing.
And they always come. They always come. You know, South Beach is a big lure for these players. You know, so I see him being able to grab. I really don't know off the top of my head who's going to be available next year, but you know that's what he does. He goes out for the big fish. You know, so I see him trying to do that again.
Speaking of big fish, how about those Dolphins? Oh, I'm sorry, it's a whole different.
5 games in a row, baby.
There you go. You tell George a million again. Anthony, anything to add to that, or?
There is rumors that Wade might return after the All-Star break due to the fact that he is not a big. It's his hometown, but he doesn't want to be considered a role player, which he is in Chicago due to Jimmy Butler. And
yeah, see, I think that's tough though for Dwayne Wade at this point in his career. He's got to understand he's probably a better player as a role player instead of carrying a team like he did with the Heat for so many years. I can see him coming back to the Heat. I don't know about this soon, but I mean, I would think he would stay at least a year.
I think he'll come back. He's in the same situation back in the day, Alonzo Mourning, when he left the Heat.
Yep.
He went to the Nets for that year,
Yep.
and then he came back to Miami. Him and Pat Riley got back on good terms. He retired with the Heat.
Yeah.
So I think a similar situation is going to happen with Dwayne Wade.
I think it'll definitely happen eventually. If it doesn't happen this year, he'll eventually come back to the Heat even if it's for a season to retire with them.
Yeah.
I definitely think.
I sure hope that happens because he really should have retired at Miami.
I was going to ask you that question. I mean, do you think that the way everything's kind of played out? I mean, no matter we don't know what's going to happen from this point on, but do you think that his legacy is tarnished at all by leaving and going elsewhere?
No. In fact, when Chicago came to Miami a few games ago and played in Miami, he got a standing ovation. I think people realize that it wasn't so much him; it was Pat Riley didn't really do his part. The last stories have come out that Pat Riley didn't even communicate with him. So people don't blame him. And I mean, it's pretty debatable not even debatable. It's hands down that Dwayne Wade has been Miami's biggest star, not just in basketball. You would have never thought that anybody could take over Dan Marino. When what he meant to that community when he played
with the city.
Right, but I think Dwayne Wade has overpassed him. Number one, because Marino never won a championship for the Dolphins, whereas Dwayne Wade won three. He won 3 with them. And I don't see there being any backlash with the fans. I think the fans love him, and he's done a lot for that community. So they, again, standing ovation when he came down. No boos.
That's always good to see.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great to hear.
Oh, I'm sorry. It was my play. I'm sorry. The buzzer didn't go off in my head. I'm sorry. So, that's all the time we have for the Miami Heat today. I want to thank George, Carde, and Anthony for coming out today and talking a little Heat with us. We'll have some more basketball specials on. Anything to add, Brian?
No, I mean, we're going to have those basketball specials, Mike. Of course, you're going to find them on social media, on Twitter at Sportsbox Show, on our Facebook page, and of course the YouTube channel where everybody I know is subscribed. I think you should probably do the same.
Yep. Anthony, thank you again, pal. I appreciate it. Coming
Wow.
out. George, you're the man.
Good luck to your Heats this year.
Absolutely.
That's right.
Thank you.
That's right.
Pleasure.
And remember, at the Sports Box, the only opinion that matters is right here. Thanks for watching, folks. See you. Go Heat.
Don't forget to subscribe.